So, welcome to the week 14 topics. It's all about the rights of the senior citizen, number 1. So, here in the Philippines, we have 2 laws. Okay, 2 laws. Batas. It's RA 7432, just take note. RA 7432, that is amended by RA 994 that creates an act for the rights of expanded rights of senior citizen. Ilang taon ba ang ina-accept natin or tinuturing nating senior citizen na?
60 po.
60 years
60
old.
po.
Okay. Yung parents nyo ba may 60 years old na? Or
Wala
pa po.
Wala pa.
Wala pa po.
Okay. You're lucky kasi medyo bata-bata pa sila. Pero kapag tumanda na sila, kung meron man kayong mga lolo't lola, okay, eto na yung mga rights of senior citizen. Number 1, okay, right to reside their home as long as possible. So kahit na, for example, meron kang titulo, pinasa na sa'yo yung titulo, still bahay niya pa din yan. Hindi mo siya pwedeng palayasin. Next, right for their needs and limitations. Right to have access to free health and medical care. Kaya nga 'di ba, kapag may sakit, agad, may free sila sa hospitalization, 'di ba? Another thing is, pwede nilang gamitin yung 20% nila. Mamaya pag-uusapan natin yung 20% na 'yan. Right to special and appropriate care. Right to immediate aid in the event of disasters and emergencies. Right to live in an environment which is safe and adaptable to personal preferences and changing capacities. All of this one are what we call the rights. Yung sinasabi nga natin, karapatan nila. But, dahil nga karapatan yan, general thing, hindi naman agad-agad nakukuha nila yan. Do you believe in that? Na hindi naman lahat ng senior citizens nakukuha yan or na-acquire lahat ng rights na yan? Sagot.
Hindi po, ma'am, hindi po.
Diba?
No po.
Hindi. Give me an example. Can you give me an example kung bakit hindi yan nakukuha ng mga senior citizen for today? Example. Wala nga silang sariling bahay eh. Pangalawa, kahit senior citizen na sila pa rin yung nagtatrabaho. Diba? Sila pa rin yung bumubuhay dun sa mga anak nilang walang kwenta, nag-anak ng nag-anak, pati mga apo nila ipaasa sa magulang nila. Tapos, o kaya naman, kung gahaman yung anak nila, kapag napasa na sa kanila yung titulo ng bahay, anong mangyayari? Palalayasin sila. So, nawawala yung rights ng mga senior citizen. So, right to opportunities for work or access to other income-generating opportunities, right to remain integrated into society, right to organize, right to pursue opportunities for the full development of their potentials, and freedom from exploitation and physical or mental abuse. Yan. So, lahat yon rights ng ating senior citizens. Generally, internationally, and universal. Yun ang rights ng senior citizen. Sa ibang bansa, alam nyo ba, this is the common reason. Bakit yung ibang bansa, ay yung mga ibang tao from the Philippines, mas gusto nila na citizen sila sa mga bansa ng Europe? Bakit? Bakit sa tingin nyo? Lalo na kapag matanda na sila. Bakit? Gusto nila
Yung medical care po.
medical care, ano pa? Meron eh. Yung benefits nila iba. Magkaiba yung benefit. Kasi iba-iba yan. Yung kaninang pinakita ko sa inyo ng mga rights na yan, hanggang 11, lahat yan general rights na alam natin international. Pero iba't iba kasi yung adaptation ng bansa natin. Sa atin, yung rights nga nila, sabi ko nga sa inyo, nakasaad sa RA 7432, which is later amended by RA 9994. Okay? Pero konti lang yung sa atin. Mas maganda sa ibang bansa. Bakit? Sa ibang bansa, alam nyo ba, kapag umabot na sila ng 60, meron silang sariling bahay. Ngayon, kung wala silang sariling bahay, lalagay sila sa home for the aged. Meron sigurado, lahat free na lahat sa kanila. Kaya yung mga ibang bansa, yung mga ibang, Pinoy, kapag nagtrabaho sila sa abroad, sisiguraduhin nila na kapag senior citizen sila, nasa taas, nasa na lang sila, nasa Amerika, nasa Italy, ganyan. Kasi yung pension, mas nakukuha nila. Ganyan. May trabaho ka man kasi or walang trabaho, nabibigyan dun sa ibang bansa. Hindi kasi katulad sa atin dito. Sa Philippines kasi, ano lang ang meron sa atin? 20%
PhilHealth.
discount. Okay? Kahit walang PhilHealth na. Okay? Meron siyang automatic 20% discount. Tapos, kailangan may ID pa. 'Di ba? Kahit matandang-matanda na yan, kahit sabi mo ng 80 years old siya, unless wala siyang ID, hindi naman siya pagbibigyan. 'Di ba? Sa mga stores. Kahit nga sa butika bibilin mo na lang ng gamot yung tatay mo. Kung wala pa yung mismong wala pa yung mismong tatay mo or siya yung bumibili ng sarili niya, hindi ka pa pagbibigyan unless may authorization letter ka. Ganyan kahigpit dito sa Pinas. I experience kasi, my dad is already a senior citizen, kaka-60 lang niya. But meron kasi siya sa sakit sa heart. Ngayon, bibili ako ng gamot niya. So, kakailanganin ko yung ID niya. So, ipapakita ko yung ID niya, senior citizen, dun sa butika. Hindi in-accept kasi daw kailangan kasama ko siya or unless kailangan ko ng authorization letter. Immediate lang yun. Parang tinawagan lang ako na bili ka na ng gamot. 'Di ba? Kung sigurong namamatay na yung tatay mo, kailangan mo pa kailangan nandun pa siya para lang mabilhan mo siya ng gamot, no? Ganun lang siya. So, the senior citizen shall be entitled to the following. Ganito sa Pilipinas. The grant of 20% discount and exemption from the value-added tax, if applicable, on the sale of the following goods and services from all establishments for the exclusive use and enjoyment or availment of the senior citizen. So, kung meron kayong senior citizen na kasama dyan at meron na siyang ID, ina-applyan po kasi yan, you can enjoy or the senior citizen mismo enjoy yung 20% discount sa gamot, sa grocery, sa mga fast food, pwede siya. Pero not all. Hindi lahat ng establishment. Meron lang selected stores. For example, pupunta ka ng Watsons, hindi pwede ang senior citizens card unless yung bibili niya is gamot. Ganun lang siya. So, sa mga sa mga selected valuables lang or selected stores lang, establishment, ina-accept yung senior citizen card na 20% discount. So, on the purchase of medicines, including the purchase of influenza, pneumococcal vaccines, and such other essentials, medical supplies, accessories, and equipment to be determined by the DOH. Yan. So, on the professional fees, attending physician, yan, private hospitals, binibigyan sila ng 20% discount. Iba yung singil nila. Kung ang doctor, ang fee niya is 1,000, dahil senior citizen siya, magiging 750 na lang or 800 na lang. Ganon. On the professional fees of licensed professional health, providing home health care services as endorsed by private hospitals, ayan, meron siyang 20% discount. Saan pa? On medical and dental services. Basta anything na about health, automatic yan, meron silang 20% discount basta nandyan yung ID nila. Iba pa po ba yung sa PhilHealth? Yes, iba pa po yung sa PhilHealth. So, in actual fare, diba, sa mga private utility vehicles natin, sa mga buses, sa jeepneys, or even in taxis, meron silang 20% discount. Yan. In actual transportation fare for domestic air transport services and sea shipping vessels and the like based on the actual fare and advance booking. Pwede rin sa mga tawag dito, sa airplane, via air, 'di ba? Pwede rin sa mga barko. Yan. Kapag hindi lang siya sa mga jeepneys or taxis or buses, applicable din yung 20% discount nila even sa mga airplane and sa mga ships. So, on the utilization of services in hotel, similar lodging establishment, restaurants, and recreation centers. Admission fees charged by theaters, cinemas, and concert halls, circuses, leisure, and amusement. Meron din siyang 20% discount. On funeral and burial service for the death of senior citizens, meron din po silang 20% discount. Gusto niyo na bang tumanda? Ha?
No, ma'am.
So, exemption from the payment, of individual income tax of senior citizens who are considered to be in the minimum wage earners in accordance with Republic Act 9504. Kung, kanwari, senior citizen na sila, tapos they are still working in a company with a minimum wage. Therefore, wala silang exemption sila dun sa individual income tax. Once you are working kasi, meron tayong tinatawag na income tax, which is returnable naman sa atin. So, sa mga senior citizens, hindi na sila sinisingil. So, the grant of minimum of 5% discount relative to the monthly utilization of water. So, kapag, for example, sa bahay nyo, sa kanya nakapangalan yung Nawasa, sa kanya nakapangalan yung Pelco, automatically, meron siyang 5% na discount. Provided, sabi niya, provided that the monthly consumption does not exceed 100 kilometers, ay kilowatts per hour. Kilometers tuloy. 100 kilowatts per hour. So, basta hindi siya nag-i-exceed ng 100 kilowatts per hour and 30 cubic meters of waters, then therefore, hindi siya, tawag ito, hindi siya, or I mean, ma-apply yung tinatawag nating 5% discount sa mga bills na yan. Yan. Exemption from training fees for socio-economic programs. Free medical and dental services, diagnostic and laboratory fees, but not limited to x-rays, computerized tomography and scans and blood tests. So, lahat na ng mga to, hindi naman siya pwedeng ilibre lahat. Kasi yung mga x-ray gumagamit siya ng mga machine. So, the DOH shall administer free vaccination against the influenza virus. Kaya nga, di ba, anong pakiusap ni Delta ngayon? Sa mga sa ating vaccine, uunahin muna ang senior citizen. Kasi po, nasa rights yan ng ating senior citizen. Yan. Kasi sila yung pinaka-weakest eh, 'di ba? Sila yung mahina ang immune system. So anong gagawin ni Delta? Kailangan unahin sila, bigyan sila ng vaccine kasi nga ang virus natin ngayon na coronavirus na hindi matapos-tapos is tinitira niya yung mga mahina ang immune system. Kaya nga mostly ngayon, nakikita ko nga sa mga post ng mga students natin ngayon, yung mga classmates nyo or mga schoolmates nyo, is puro mga tatay nilang napapawi. Di ko alam kung COVID ba or what. Pero, nakakasawa din no, sa social media, makita mo talagang laging silang namamatayan. Meron din silang rights for the educational assistance to senior citizens to pursue post-secondary, tertiary, or tertiary. Meron kasi mga senior citizens na yung mga pangarap nilang makapagtapos or maituloy or yung pag-aaral nila, pwede po. Meron din silang ganyan. Meron silang educational assistance. Yan. So, the extent practicable and feasible, the continuance of the same benefits and privileges even given by the GSIS or even the SSS and the Pag-ibig as the case may be are enjoyed by those actual services. Ito, retirement benefits of retirees from both government. Kadalasan nga, 'di ba, lahat ng mga government employee, ang kanilang retirement age is 60 years old. Pero lang sa police. Ilang taon sa police?
57, ma'am.
30 years na po sa service.
30 years na sa service. Hindi niyo pa napag-aralan yan sa LEAD or sa LEAD? Police
Ma'am, di ba
organization?
57?
57 ba? I know 56 years old. Dati siya,
Opo, ma'am, 56.
56 siya. 56 years old siya. Okay? 56 years old ang retiring. Ganito ang retirement sa PNP. Pwede kang early retirement basta meron ka ng 10 years in service. Pwede rin yung compulsory retirement basta meron kang 20 years. And then, meron kayong talagang kailangan mo nang mag-retire, that is 56 years old. Basta, kahit ilang years ka na, basta 56 years old, kailangan mo nang mag-retire. Okay? Hindi siya umaabot ng 60. Yes, Angelica.
Ma'am, same benefits pa rin po ba kahit na nag-early retire?
Depende Hindi siya same benefits. Kasi merong computation yan. Alam ko nga, tinuro na yan sa lead nyo. Baka sa second year, siguro ibang lead nyo. Meron yung computation, anak, sa per year. For example, every 5 years, tumataas siya ng gantong %. Depende sa years kasi. Merong computation yan yung retirement benefit. The more na mas matagal ka, the more na mas mataas ang benefit na makukuha mo. Pero, hindi ibig sabihin na maaga kang nag-retire, same benefit ka. Hindi. Kasi binibilang nila yan. Meron siyang percentage. Okay? Tuturo din yan sa inyo, don't worry. Kasi sa board exam, minsan nagpapa-exam sila ng ganyan na magko-compute kayo. So, retirement benefits of retirees from both government and the private sector shall be regularly reviewed to ensure their continuing responsiveness and sustainability. And to the extent practicable and feasible, should be upgraded to be at the part with the current scale enjoyed by those in actual service. So, to the extent possible, the government may grant special discounts in special programs for senior citizens on purchase of basic commodities subject to the guidelines to be issued to the DTI and DA. So, provide provision of express lanes for senior citizens in all commercial government establishment. Kaya nga 'di ba sa mga kahit sa bangko man 'yan, sa fast food man 'yan, meron tayong tinatawag na express lane. Para saan yung express lane na 'yon? Para saan yung or para kanino yung express lane na 'yon? Sa mga senior citizens. Oh. Others from senior citizens, kasama din yung mga person with disability, PWDs. And also yung mga pregnant women. 'Di ba? Kapag buntis, kapag PWD, kapag senior citizen, meron tayong tinatawag na express lane. Ang ibig sabihin ng express lane, ito yung mga sa part ng cashier. For example, sa part ng cashier, hindi na sila kailangan pumila pa ng mas mahaba or yung magtatagal pa sila ng pila. Agad, automatic, ililipat yung mga senior citizen, ililipat yung mga PWD, pati yung mga pregnant women, na doon na sila pumunta, diretso na sila. Mas mabilis ang kanila. Yun ang tinatawag nating express lane. Okay. Ito, death benefit assistance in a minimum of 2,000 shall be given to the nearest surviving relative of a deceased senior citizen, which amount shall be subject to adjustment due to inflation in accordance with the guidance to be issued by DSWD. So, kapag namatayan ka ng senior citizen, automatically, meron silang ibibigay na assistance sa'yo. At least 2,000 pesos. In the purchase of goods and services which are promotional discount, the senior citizen can avail the promotional discount or the discount provided herein, whichever is higher. So, ano man ang mas mataas, yun ang mapupunta kay senior citizen. Ito. After natin kay senior citizens, ito naman yung rights and privileges of disabled person or person with disability under RA 7277. So, equal opportunity for employment. Nakakita na ba kayo ng mga crew sa loob ng Jollibee or sa McDo? Have you seen any of those? Na-try nyo na?
Nagtrabaho, ma'am.
Oo. Di ba nakakatuwa or nakakagandang isipin na kahit na with disability sila, kaya naman nilang mag-work. Kasi kadalasan sa mga yan, talented sila. So, we need to give an equal opportunity for employment doon sa mga taong PWD. So, no disabled person shall be denied access to opportunities for suitable employment. Pero kadalasan kasi, nadja-judge sila. Diba? Yung mga PWD, agad-agad, hindi sa isipin na, ay, hindi siya pwede sa gantong trabaho. Ay, ganto kasi hindi na siya, kasi may kulang sa kanya. Kulang-kulang siya. So, hindi siya pwede. So, kailangan, rights nila yan and privilege na magkaroon ng equal opportunity for employment. So, a qualified disabled employee shall be subject to the same terms and conditions of employment and the same compensation. So, privilege benefits, fringe benefits, incentives, or allowances as a qualified able-bodied person. So, kahit na meron silang kapansanan, kahit nga yung tinatawag nating special child talaga, 'di ba? Kung nakakapag-work naman sila sa Jollibee, sa fast food, or doon sa work na appropriate sila, talagang kailangan ibigay sa kanila ng special attention. So, 5% of all casual emergency and contractual positions in the DSWD, education, health, culture, and sports, and other government agencies, offices, or corporation engaged in social development shall be reserved for disabled persons. Next, sheltered employment. If suitable for employment for disabled person cannot be found through open employment as provided in the immediately preceding section, the state shall endeavor to provide it by means of sheltered employment. In the placement of disabled persons in sheltered employment, it shall accord due regard to individual qualities, vocational goals, and inclination to ensure a good working atmosphere and efficient production. For example, wala talaga siyang mahanap na trabaho, yung itong CPWD. So, meron tayong tinatawag na sheltered employment. Ito yung ibibigay ng government according or kung ano yung kanyang kaya as an individual na with disability. Apprenticeship. What is apprenticeship? Subject to the provisions of Labor Code, amended, disabled person shall be eligible as apprentices or learners. Or karang kailangan mo pa siyang turuan kasi nga iba siya hindi siya normal katulad mo. So, provided that their handicap is not as much as to effectively impede the performance of job operations. Pwede siyang magtrabaho, pwede siyang makatulong as long na hindi siya nakakabigat or hindi siya nakakahamper doon sa transaction or doon sa job flow. Sabi nga. Diba? Provided that their handicap is not as much effectively impede the performance of job operation in the particular application for which they are hired. Provided further that after the lapse of the period of apprenticeship, if found satisfactory in the job performance, they shall be eligible for employment. So, for example, sabi natin si Jonel Pamintuan, putol siya ng isang paa. Jonel, diyan ka pa ba?
Ma'am,
O, diba?
nandito pa po.
Happy
Ganun.
For example lang, putol yung paa mo. Ngayon, yung paa mong yan, parang hindi ka pantay maglakad. Kasi may bakal na lang siya. Alam mo yung prosthetic na paa? Tapos, diba, hindi ka pantay maglakad. Ngayon, nag-apply ka as a crew sa Jollibee. So, sinasabi ng apprenticeship, bago mo i-decline, okay? Bago mo i-decline yung taong with disability, okay? Kailangan i-try mo muna yung apprenticeship. Ang sinasabi ng apprenticeship, yung turuan mo muna. Ayan. At tingnan mo muna if qualified. Kung kaya naman niya, kung kaya mo naman, if PWD ka, kahit putol ang paa mo, with prosthetic na paa, therefore, pwede kang maging eligible for employment. Yun ang sinasabi ng ating apprenticeship. So, nawawala yung judgment and criticism na agad-agad dahil PWD ka, hindi ka na bagay sa trabahong ito. Yun. Meron din tayong tinatawag na vocational rehabilitation. What is vocational rehabilitation? So, this is consistent with the principle of equal opportunity for disabled workers and workers in general. So, the state shall take appropriate vocational rehabilitation measures that shall serve to develop the skills and potentials of disabled persons and enable them to compete favorably for available productive and remunerative employment opportunities in the labor market. So, dito sa vocational rehabilitation, binibigyan sila ng chance to, what do you call this? Binibigyan sila ng chance to develop their skills. Oh, for example nga, naputulan ng paa itong si Jonel Pamintuan. Ayan. Yung vocational rehabilitation, tutulungan ka nilang ma-cope up kung ano man yung disability mo. So, tutulungan ka nila na maging productive or pwedeng i-learn mo or ma-discover mo yung talent or yung skill na kaya mong gawin kahit na putol ang kamay mo, putol ang paa mo, or kahit ano bang disability na meron ka. So, that is vocational rehabilitation. That is your privilege as a disabled person. Meron bang disabled dito? Meron bang disabled? I'm not kidding. Kung wala naman, you're very lucky if you're walang disabled sa inyo. Ngayon, kung feeling mo disabled ka lang, mag-isip-isip ka. Okay, vocational guidance and counseling. The DSWD shall implement measures providing and evaluating vocational guidance and counseling to enable disabled person to secure, retain, and advance in employment. It shall ensure the availability and training of counselors and other suitability qualified staff responsible for the vocational guidance and counseling of disabled person. So, yung vocational guidance and counseling, ano sa tingin nyo yung kadalasan ng nararamdaman ng mga disabled person? Ha? Ano sa tingin nyo yung kadalasan nararamdaman ng mga disabled person?
Wala po silang silbi, ma'am.
Ano?
Yung feeling po nila, ma'am, wala silang silbi.
Feeling nila wala silang silbi. Ano pa?
Nahihiya sa kalagayan nila.
Discriminated.
Oo. They feel incompetent. Number 1, they feel incompetent. 'Di ba? Wala silang silbi. Wala silang self-esteem. Diba? They look down on themselves na parang wala silang kwenta, hindi nila kaya to. So, kaya meron tayong tinatawag na vocational guidance and counseling. Dito, parang kinakausap sila na okay lang yan, na nangyayari talaga yan sa buhay, di ba? Na nagkakaroon ng aksidente, nagkakaroon ng ganito. But, ang purpose ng vocational guidance and counseling is to build your self-esteem if you are disabled person. Kasi kadalasan sa mga disabled person, 'di ba, yung parang nawawalan sila ng gana sa buhay, nawawalan silang i-continue yung buhay nila because of what they have. So anong nangyayari? Through guidance and counseling, na-improve natin yung self-confidence nila, yung self-esteem nila to continue their life even na disabled sila. Yan. So, yun yung mga rights and privilege of disabled person. Saan nakukuha yung mga yan? Sa DSWD po. Okay, lahat ng yan na sabi kong vocational rehabilitation, vocational guidance and counseling, pwede yan ibigay ng ating DSWD. Access to quality education. Ayan. The state shall ensure kaya tayo may SPED. Ayan, hindi pwedeng walang SPED sa public school. Ayan. Access to quality education. The state shall ensure the disabled persons are provided with adequate access to quality education and ample opportunities to develop their skills. It shall take appropriate steps to make such education accessible to all disabled persons. It shall be unlawful for any learning institution to deny a disabled person admission to any course offers by reason of handicap or disability. Ito yung tinatawag nating SPED. Sa SPED, yung mga estudyante natin dito, talagang mga special child sila. Minsan pipe, minsan bulag, minsan autism or autistic, minsan ADHD, yung mga hyperactive. Yan, yun yung tinatawag nating SPED. Then, we also have assistance to disabled students. O, for example, ulit, kanwari, putol yung paa ni Jonel, pamintuan. Ayan, putol lang paa niya. Ngayon, mag-aaral pa rin siya sa Fatima. So, pwede kang mag-apply ng 5% na annual allocation for your private education student financial assistance program. So, under RA 6725, so, magkakaroon ka ng 5%. For example, ito yung tuition fee. Bibigay nila at least 5% for your allowance and your tuition fee. Yan. Pwede rin yung mga scholarship, student loan programs, and subsidies. Ito, special education. Ito yung sinasabi ko. The state shall establish, maintain, and support a complete, adequate, and integrated system of special education for visually impaired, ayan nga, bulag, hearing impaired, mentally retarded persons, and other types of exceptional children in all regions of the country. So, kahit saan meron pong SPED. So, toward this end, the DepEd, Culture and Sports shall establish special education classes in public schools in cities or municipalities. It shall also establish where viable braille and record libraries in provinces, cities, or municipalities. Kung meron tayong special education, meron din tayong tinatawag na non-formal education. So, the non-formal education, the state shall develop a non-formal education programs intended for the total human development of disabled person. It shall provide adequate resources for non-formal education programs and projects that cater to special needs of disabled person. Yung non-formal education, hindi siya katulad sa SPED na under ng DepEd na kailangan ganito. Meron silang series na tinatapos. Sa non-formal education, ito yung mga bata na walang kakayanang pumasok sa SPED. Okay? Sa non-formal education, pumapunta tayo ng, for example, summer lang siya nag-aaral or paiklian lang nila ng 6 months para makatapos siya or bibigay lang sa kanya yung basic need na kaya niya. For example, mentally retarded talaga siya. So, kahit naturuan lang siya, at least makapagsalita ng kanyang pangalan or even isulat yung pangalan niya and even numbers. Ganun yung tinatawag nating non-formal education. Just for programs intended for the total human development of disabled persons. Tinuturuan din sila dito na, for example, yung etiquette, ganyan, feelings, yan. Yun ang tinatawag nating non-formal education. Ito pa, state universities and colleges. If viable and needed, the state universities or state colleges in each region or province shall be responsible for the development of material appliances and technical aids for disabled persons, development of training materials for vocational rehabilitations, the research on special problems, particularly on visually impaired, hearing impaired, speech impaired, orthopedically impaired students. Yung orthopedically impaired students, ito yung mga pilay, yan, or hindi buo yung, hindi siya nakakagalaw ng maayos. Mentally retarded, multi-handicap and others, and the elimination of social barriers, discrimination against disabled person. Inclusion of SPED in their curriculum. Yan, special education for disabled person. Ano pa yung mga rights and privileges of disabled persons sa health services? The state shall protect and promote the right to health of disabled person and shall adopt an integrated and comprehensive approach to their health development which shall make essential health services available to them at affordable cost. So the national government shall provide an integrated health service for disabled persons which shall include but not limited to the following. Ayan. Prevention of disability through immunization, nutrition, environmental protection, preservation, genetic counseling. Itong mga bagay na to, hindi nga siya yung parang yearly na bibigay sa kanila. Pero talaga mga separate programs na nag-a-accept sa mga ganyang bagay or nagbibigay sa mga ganyang program sa ating mga disabled person. Meron bang ID yung mga PWD? Meron bang ID?
Meron po.
Meron. Oh. I remember I have a friend, hindi naman siya PWD. Nagpaano siya ng PWD para makakuha lagi siya ng 20% discount sa Jollibee. Sabi niya mentally retarded. Do you want to try? Ha? I-accept naman nila basta may ID ka. Ganyan. Ganyan ka-corrupt sa Pilipinas. Pati pagiging PWD, i-accept nila. Next. Auxiliary social services. Ayan. The state shall ensure that marginalized persons are provided with necessary auxiliary services that will restore their social functioning and participation in community affairs. Ito yung mga nakikita nyo na, yung auxiliary, ito yung mga different programs that will help them develop to socialize with others. For example, pati mga art exhibits, pati sports. So, toward this ends, the DSWD shall develop and implement programs on auxiliary social services that responds to the needs of marginalized disabled persons. So, the components of such program shall be as follows. Ayan. Assistance in the acquisition of prosthetic devices. Ito yung mga, kanwari, putol yung paa mo, putol ang kamay mo, bibigyan ka nila ng prosthetic devices. Ayan. Provision of special training activities designed to improve functional limitations of disabled persons related to communication skills. Ito yung mga programs na kanwari tinutulungan silang makapagsalita, speech programs. Ayan. Development among disabled person of a positive self-image through the provision of counseling, orientation, and mobility and strengthening daily living capability. Provision of family care and services geared towards developing the capability of families to respond to the needs of disabled members of the family. Minsan, nagkakaroon sila ng seminar and training dun sa mga PWD na family para alam nila kung paano nila dapat tratuhin or bigyan ng treatment yung kanilang mga anak or kamag-anak. Ayan. Or mismo kapatid nila, nanay ba nila, or whatever. Ito, provision of a substitute family care services. For example, ano siya, totaling uli na lang lubos, tapos PWD pa siya. Kailangan meron tayong tinatawag na substitute family care services. Under pa rin to ng DSWD. So, nililingap sila, di ba? Meron nga, di ba, bantay bata, ganyan. And the facilities, therefore, for abandon, ayan, neglected, abused, and unattached disabled persons who need a custodial care. So, kung wala silang pamilya, kailangan automatically kuhanin sila ng DSWD and give them a substitute family care. Provision of aftercare and follow-up services for the continued rehabilitation in a community-based setting of disabled persons who were released from residential care or rehabilitation centers. Provision of daycare services for disabled children of preschool age. Meron tayong daycare, yung parang, pag sinabi natin daycare, hindi sila matutulog doon. Ano lang siya, parang just for a day. Ayan. Parang papasok ka, 'di ba? Sabi niya papasok ka sa daycare. Sa barangay, meron tayong daycare. Tama po ba ako? Sa barangay nyo, meron kayong daycare, tapos free lang sila kapag yung mga bata na mag-enroll doon.
Yes po.
'Di ba? Hindi siya under ng school, ng elementary school. Outside siya sa barangay. Yun yung mga daycare services. Madami pa ba? Okay, konti na lang to. Saan na tayo? Ito. Broadcast media. So, television stations shall be encouraged to provide a sign language inset or subtitle at least one newscast program. Di ba ngayon sa mga balita, meron na yung sa gilid, sa ilalim, merong nagta-translate? Doon sa mga hindi nakakarinig. Kaya merong, hindi ko alam anong tawag doon sa hand gestures na yun eh. Pero yun yung language doon sa mga deaf person. Telephone services, all telephone companies shall be encouraged to install special telephone devices. Kaya nga sa mga cellphone nyo, kahit sa cellphone nyo na lang, di ba meron siyang, kanwari, bulag ka, hindi ka makapag-phone, meron siyang voice recognition. 'Di ba na kanwari sabihin mo na call ganto ganyan, call 911, ganyan sasabihin lang niya. Therefore automatically kahit hindi niya nakikita na-operate yung phone kasi kasama yan sa privilege nyo as a disabled person. Free postal charges for the disabled person, katulad ng mga books, periodicals, orthopedic aids and orthopedic devices, provided that the aforesaid items are for personal purposes only or for personal use only. Provided further that the disabled person is marginalized disabled as certified by DSWD or the local government. Pag sinabi nating marginalized sector, ito yung mga walang kakayahan to provide or to acquire the special services for the person with disability. Kasi meron mga PWD naman na kaya ng mga mayayaman na i-afford or ibigay sa kanila yung mga ganyang programs. So, kailangan, para makuha mo yung free of charge ng mga libro or anumang teaching aids na meron ka, kailangan kasama ka dun sa tinatawag nating marginalized sector. Barrier-free environment. The state shall ensure the attainment of barrier-free environment that will enable disabled person to have access in public and private buildings and establishments and shops, other places mentioned in Batasang Pambansa bilang 344 or the accessibility law. Can you give me an example of this barrier-free environment? Yung nakikita nyo. That's very easy. Can you give me an example? Hello? Can you give an example? Nakikita nyo lagi yan. Example. Alam nyo yung sa parking lot. Yung kapag may drawing siya
opo,
ng
ma'am,
kapag sa mga hagdan.
Sa wheelchair po, ma'am.
Oo. Kapag sa mga hagdan, kunwari ang building ay may hagdan. Ano yung another area niya? 'Di ba yung parang ano lang siya, yung parang straight na walang hagdan na pwedeng dumaan yung wheelchair? Yun yung tinatawag nating barrier-free environment na pwedeng pwede siya sa mga PWD. Sa sasakyan or sa mga buses and jeep, saan sila nakalagay? Nakaupo. Doon sa malapit sa pintuan para hindi sila nahihirapan. Yun ang barrier-free environment na kailangan siya in every establishment or even in the transportation. Sabi niya, public and private buildings, kailangan meron siya dyan. Kahit nga sa CR, di ba? Tama ba ako? Kahit sa CR, meron yan. Sa mga PWD. Yun ang barrier-free environment kasi nasa batas yan na each establishment kailangan may ganun. Yan. Next,
Yes, ma'am.
mobility. The state shall promote the mobility of disabled persons, shall be allowed to drive motor vehicles, subject to the rules and regulations. Meron kaya kahit nga putol ang paa, nakakapag-drive eh. Basta kaya. 'Di ba? Basta meron siyang prosthetic. Yan. Tapos, titingnan lang yung mismong ID niya. Yung mismong, what do you call this? Yung kanyang lisensya. Meron lang siyang parang restrictions doon na pwede niyang i-drive. Access to public transport facilities. Ito yung sinasabi ko sa inyo na meron silang discount dito. Another thing, katulad lang ng discount ng senior citizens na 20%, another thing, kailangan meron silang separate na upuan. System of voting. Ayan, disabled person shall be allowed to be assisted by a person of his choice in voting in national or local elections. So, nakakaboto pa rin sila. For example, bulag siya, tapos gusto niyang bumoto. So, ang mangyayari nun, kung meron siyang kakilala or kaklose niya, sino man mag-a-assist sa kanya, tutulungan siya. Meron pa rin siyang karapatang bumoto. Right to assemble. Ayan. Consistent with the provisions of the Constitution, the state shall recognize the right of disabled persons to participate in processions, rallies, and parades, demonstrations, public meetings, and assemblages, or other forms of mass or concerted action held in public. So, meron din silang karapatan na sumali sa mga ganyang rally. Para kasi ito yung right to speak or freedom for your democracy or freedom to have an association. Ayan, right to assemble. Right to organize. The state recognizes the right of disabled person to form organizations. At madami po tayong ganyan. Or associations that promote their welfare and advance or safeguard their interests. And sometimes, nakaka-proud or diba, tawag dito? Nakaka-proud or very inspiring yung mga ganyang grupo, 'di ba? For example, yung mga lahat sila naka-wheelchair pero meron silang organization. Tapos yung organization na 'yon ang ginagawa nila, tutulungan nilang bawat isa, nagba-basketball sila, nagde-develop sila ng mga talent nila in arts, in music. Ayan, ito yung mga right to organize. Meron silang karapatang bumuo ng kanilang association. Ayan, person with disability shall be entitled to 20% discount. Sa lahat ng establishment, tawag dito, health services man yan, even in the fast food chains. Nakatulad lang siya ng 20% discount ng ating mga senior citizen. Pareho lang po yan. Yan. Umulit lang tayo. Pati nga sa funeral services, pareho lang sila. Pati educational system, GSIS, umulit lang yung mga yan. So, that's it. Do you have, itong expanded na yan, that is RA 10574. So, kung ang nakikita natin ng rights and privileges of disabled persons and under RA 7277, napalawigan siya doon sa RA 10754. Nag-take down notes kayo sa mga batas niyan? Ha? Nag-take down notes kayo? Okay. Ano nga yung batas for the originally for the senior citizen? That is RA
7432
7432, which is later amended by
994
999 tapos 4. Okay. Tapos dito naman sa privileged persons with disability from RA 7277 naging siyang RA 10574. Kung titingnan nyo, pareho lang siya. Ginaya lang niya yung RA 994 doon sa mismong 20% discount. Yan lang. Yun lang naman na nagbago. Pero yung didiscuss ko sa inyo kung ano yung pagka-discount ng ating sa senior citizen, parehong-pareho lang po siya. So, do you have any questions?
Yan, ma'am.